Just what is behind the legend of the lost hitchhiker? Have you ever heard of Lydias Bridge in Jamestown, North Carolina? Or the legends of the lost hitchhiker that seem to spread worldwide? Welcome to Peculiar Occurrences. I am your host, Lilith Nova.
A Peculiar Occurrence fan? Well, I've opened up a store just for you. So head on over and buy your Peculiar Occurrence gear today. Links are in the description box below. Thank you.
On certain rainy nights, when US 78 twists around a sweeping curve that passes by an overgrown underpass, drivers will see a young woman in a long flowing white dress desperately trying to flag down passing by cars. And if anyone pulls over and tries to help her, she will meekly crawl into the backseat of your car, state that her name is Lydia and that she's trying to get home from a school dance, and then she will direct you to her home. The address is never too far away, and when the gentleman, which it is usually a gentleman, graciously gives her a ride home, she spends the ride looking sadly out of the window. The story goes that the guy pulls up, gets out of the car, and when he goes around to let Lydia out, she has vanished. The man then will go to the door to see if Lydia made it inside safely, where he is met by an old woman who tells him he is not the first to show up at her door, showing the young man a picture of Lydia, the same Lydia he had picked up, and telling him that she had died in the very spot where she was picked up years ago, and that now it seems she is desperately still trying to get home. This is why the overgrown underpass is called Lydias Bridge. Drive by it on certain rainy nights, and you too may spot Lydia. But there is more to this story than that. The truth about Lydia, the phantom hitchhiker, may have been found. Author Michael Ringer and his co-researcher and author Amy Greer has studied the Lydia case for over 30 years. For discovering an old Greensboro Patriot newspaper article. It said there had been a bad accident in Jamestown on a rainy summer night. 3 people in the car had survived, but 30-year-old Annie L. Jackson was killed. It happened June 20th, 1920, beneath the old bridge. Shortly after that, the ghost sightings began. When Michael Ringer was researching for his book, he immediately tried to find family. He was starting to assume that there wasn't anyone left, at least not in Greensboro. Then in 2017, he was contacted by Robin Mitchell Taylor. He got a Facebook message from Robin Taylor saying that she was a great niece of Annie L. and that she still lived in Greensboro. As a child growing up in Greensboro, you hear the rumors and the legends about Lydia. I always heard about Lydia, Taylor explained. But Robin, like everyone else, knew Lydia only as a ghost, until her love of history led her to research her family history. A genealogy report revealed that her grandmother had a sister that the family never talked about. Annie L. Jackson, cause of death, fall from an automobile. So she went to the local library and dug up old newspaper clippings and found out Annie L. Jackson died in a car accident on Jamestown High Point Road. In Robin Taylor's research, she found out of Michael Ringer, who thought the exact same thing. Michael stated that when Robin had contacted him, it was like lights came on everywhere, not just to hear from the relative, but that the relative also had come to the same conclusion he had. End quote. It took a couple of months, but they had compared notes and figured out that Annie and their Lydia were one and the same. As for why the ghost is called Lydia and not Annie, Ringer said it's possible that Annie's middle initial, L, stands for Lydia. But he thinks it more likely that multiple ghost stories had gotten mixed together over the years. There were 3 other Lydias who died in that time period, but none of them at the bridge, or even near it. Ringer and Greer have written a new book and are hoping to get Looking for Lydia published sometime this year. Could this be the real story of Lydias Bridge? Perhaps. But the truth is, the urban legend of the missing hitchhiker is a staple in American folklore. Pretty much every state in the Union has some story about a young woman who lost her life to an automobile accident and still haunts some area, some bridge, until this very day, in which she is still trying to make her way back home. In the book, The Vanishing Hitchhiker, they document several versions of this story. 11 different versions of the story circulating in North Carolina alone throughout the 60s. These phantom hitchhiker stories seem to have a very long history, coming about even before the invention of the automobile. There are recorded versions of ghosts hopping on wagons. Sometimes the mysterious figure isn't even a lady at all. Sometimes she's some sort of religious figure like a nun or a patron saint or even Jesus himself. There are even Yiddish versions from Europe where the mysterious person is the prophet Eli. And even though the details vary from story to story and culture to culture, the premise always stays the same, that it's a person that gets picked up and mysteriously disappears before reaching the destination. So North Carolina's Lydias Bridge ghost is just one of dozens of stories stretching across the United States and across the world. Now, of the multiple stories circulating in North Carolina, a few things seem to stay the same, such as the girl being in a white dress, her sitting in the back seat, it always seems to be raining, and the old mother always seems to tell them, "You are not the first to arrive." It is actually only with the invention of the internet that the girl got the name Lydia, and the specific place being the bridge in North Carolina became the most often told. And actually, in the 1960s version of the story, it usually included a girl named Mary. That's the one I remember. Also, one thing that's seldom mentioned is that Lydias Bridge isn't even a bridge at all. It is a culvert to carry railroad tracks over a dry stream bed. So what does the story of the phantom hitchhiker even mean? And why do we keep telling it over and over again? Well, it's probably worth mentioning that even though there are versions that are older, the story spread like wildfire with the invention of the automobile. There was a time in history when there were very few cars on the road, and a young girl dying in an automobile accident would have shook entire towns. The old folks of the area more than likely had memories of car accidents that shook their town when they were younger, and those memories now live on through folklore and legend, with such stories such as the missing hitchhiker. There also may be something in the way the story captures a teenager's first few years of driving, the intrigue and the excitement that goes along with it, or even a way to scare their children into being safe on the roads. And if you happen to see a woman in a white dress standing by that bridge in North Carolina, there's a good chance you are spotting Lydia. There's an even better chance that you're spotting some teenager following the excitement of Lydia's ghost. So what do you think about this peculiar occurrence? Do you believe that Lydia's ghost and the missing hitchhiker, or lost hitchhiker, is just an urban legend? Or do you happen to think that there might be something about these bridges that keeps spirits hanging around after a tragic accident? Let me know down below. And while you're down there, check out my description box for your peculiar occurrence merch. I got some leggings now and skull and lace to go along with your Peculiar Squad t-shirt. I also have that shirt in many different styles now. Check it out. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and please hit that bell button so that YouTube will tell you when I upload. And until next time, keep your eyes peeled for all things peculiar. Do 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 do.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.